Hey guys, so it's time here to do a quick little speed test and camera test comparison between the LG V10 and the LG G4, its predecessor. So I was quite interested to see how the V10 has progressed here from the very nice G4, which is still a very relevant phone. So we can start them both up at the same time at the back here and see basically how they start up. So 3, 2, 1. So I press them at the same time, and I think the V10 responds a bit quicker. But how do they boot up? We can have a look. The actual specs are quite similar across these two. So there's a massive difference here when it comes to the booting up, even though they're both like Snapdragon 808. I think there is like an extra gig of RAM though, obviously, in the V10, which might help there. I think also we're both running Android 5.1.1 as well in the settings. So you can see, and if we go down here about phone, so you can see, 5.1 actually, so slightly little bit behind there on the G4. Hopefully they will be both updated though quite quick, and I have also updated everything in terms of the Android here, so maybe we can see that. So you can see everything's up to date, and we can just start up some apps and see how they compare. The G4 does seem a little bit more bent than the V10. The V10 is a lot flatter on the surface, hence why it doesn't move as much. But you can see here straight away the G4 is keeping up pretty much. A little bit faster on this one with the V10. And now the G4. Wow. So must have updated that. Let's try that again. So V10 came up with the keyboard. Now back to the G4. Wow, very similar here. Whoops. A little bit quicker here for the camera, I think. We do have YouTube as well, YouTube. So a little bit quicker again on the V10 here, but you can certainly see there's not a huge difference actually when it comes to the day-to-day. Again, maybe the V10 there, messaging. So, you know, for the app opening, I'm going to call it probably a little bit mixed actually. You know, I'm not really seeing much difference here. What about the games? Let's open up some games. Identical. Wow, that was literally identical. Boom Beach. A little bit quicker here, I think, on the left. But not hugely faster by any means. And also we do have Sonic 2, back to the 1990s. So again, very similar here on both of them, if it'll let me out. So you can see here, you know, if you have a G4 and you're thinking to upgrade to the V10 for the app opening, don't bother. You know, it's very similar, even though the V10 has a little bit more RAM. Now we can have a look at the web browsing to see if there's any difference here. Straight away it looks like the V10 went into this a little bit quicker. But that was like the G4 coming back. GSM. G4 again. Wow, this would be a shocker. The displays look a little bit different as well in terms of the colour. Don't know if you can make it out on camera, but this one looks a little bit warmer compared to the cooler G4. So interesting to note. Quick hit here on the left this time. So back to the V10. Verge. Verge. Why aren't you coming up? Verge. Hate it when it doesn't come up. So I have to go to it this way. So again, the G4, you know, this is back and forth if you ask me. Not a massive difference here for the web browsing. So I'm going to call this a draw again, I think, for fairness. We can just have a look at the multitasking here. So basically, hopefully the V10 will have improved on. And a little bit quicker here to recover from the reload. And I wouldn't expect reload with 4 gigs of RAM, to be honest. I think LG, you know, could be improving that. But it's definitely recovering faster than the G4 here. So I think we've finally found something to differentiate them. Similar there. And again, you can see much faster on the keyboard there. What about the games? GTA. Quicker here. But then again, they do start roughly the same time there. Also, Boom Beach. Wow, G4 now. So G4 is a lot faster. Wow. So who will take the final game? Let's have a look. Sonic 2. Wow, so the G4 is kind of tripping here at the end. Never mind though, you know, it's still done very well. So maybe I'm probably going to give the V10 for the multitasking at the end of the day. But then again, you know, commendations for the G4 here, which is getting on in terms of the tech industry. Things do very fast, like in terms of the age of things. So I'm very impressed with what it's managed to do here. So basically we can have a look at the camera comparison. I have been out and about with these two on kind of like we're coming up to winter here, so there's not really much light and it's very kind of damp, like autumn weather. But nevertheless, you know, even though we do have this weather, you can definitely see a lot of nice detail from the V10. Is it amazingly better than the G4? Probably not. You know, I think the G4 is still very potent when it comes to the camera, but I do think there's slight refinements when it comes to like the close-ups. I do notice a little bit more sharper detail on the V10, and as well as the bokeh like blur effect in the background is very nice and pleasing. So that's one area. Also the HDR shoots a lot faster on the V10, you know, it's just like bam and it's done. So you know, you can have a look for yourself really, you know, what you think in regards to these two. In terms of the low light, very similar as well across the board here, maybe slightly less blur on the V10, but again, you know, the G4 is very strong with its 1.8 aperture, so there's not going to be a huge difference there. I did do a video comparison, so you can check that out as well. Hey guys, so we're just testing the LG V10 for the 4K video recording here on this very kind of miserable pre-winter weather. You can see a lot of leaves here, and I'm guessing the snow will be coming very soon. But you can see on the V10 here, we do get I think optical image stabilization, so the video should be very nice and smooth when I'm walking. And I do notice, I think there's less of that kind of jelly stabilization when using it against like the G4. And we can just have a look at the focusing. So we get 8 times focusing, it seems. It seems to be quite powerful, which is very nice, and you can do it quite slow as well. And let's just check out the close-up focusing. So I think there's a laser on the back of it, so it shouldn't have any issues with this. And so far it looks very fast, doing what it needs to do. Guys, so just doing the same test here with the G4, so we can see how the old flagship compares against the new V10. And this one has, I think, quite similar type of hardware, like optical image stabilization, etc., 4K, so it should be quite good as well. And you can definitely see here, very nice and smooth as I'm walking. And there is a little bit of jello effect that I do notice on the G4 though, which kind of like unrealistic movements due to the stabilization, but generally it's among the best still, I think, when it comes to the, you know, the quality. 8 times zoom as well, which is very nice. And also the laser obviously on the back, which makes it zoom very quick. Indeed. So I think that this is still very relevant now for 2015. So how can I rate this comparison for the camera? You know, I'd say you know, the G4 is still very potent here, but the V10 probably just tips it really, which is to be expected. You know, I'd probably consider the difference like the Note 5 and the Galaxy S6. Only if you look very closely will you notice a difference between them. So if you're looking at you know, upgrading to the V10 for the camera, again, probably not really worth it, and probably worth waiting for the G5. But then again, if you're getting the V10 for its camera, you will not be disappointed here. It's an absolute beast when it comes to like pretty much every kind of setting. So but in terms of the actual phones themselves, you know, is it worthwhile to upgrade for everything else, like the build quality? I'd emphatically say yes. You know, when I was out and about with this, it felt a million times better to hold. It feels like a, you know, really powerful like device, which you just don't get that with the kind of more plasticky build on the G4. But then again, if you're on a budget, you can probably get the G4 for half the price of the V10, and it's giving you pretty much the same kind of overall performance as you've seen in this video. But those of you who need the best, you know, this is in the elite right now, no doubt about it. But yeah, just a quick little video here. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.